My wife told me that she doesn't love me anymore. She wants a divorce, but I don't want to lose her. I hate you. Sometimes I wish I'd never even married you in the first place. Her words stung, but it wasn't the first time that I'd heard them. Our marriage had been rocky for months, and Claire had told me that on at least 2 separate occasions. I knew that things weren't looking good for us, but I still loved her, and I wanted to make things work. Look, I said, pursing my lips as I choked back tears. I know you don't mean that. Yeah, things have been turbulent between us lately, but that doesn't mean I've stopped caring about you. I glanced up, trying to meet her gaze, but she turned away the second I did. Yeah, well, I have. I'm sorry, Jason, but I just don't love you anymore. I've known for a while. I couldn't bring myself to tell you that until now. I stared at her, stunned. She sounded so confident, so sure. I knew then that she really had thought long and hard about what she was going to say to me. This wasn't just some angry outburst. There was no going back from this. I stumbled backward, falling onto the couch. I stayed there, eyes glued to the floor. In that moment, I didn't feel sad or angry or bitter. Just numb. My whole world was crashing down, and I was powerless to stop it. I want a divorce, Claire said, dropping a stack of papers onto the couch cushion beside me. I'm sorry that it has to be like this, Jason. I really am. You're a great guy, and you deserve someone who truly cares about you, but that person isn't me. And with that, she left me all alone. I can't even begin to describe the amount of anguish that I felt. The woman that I loved more than anything apparently didn't care about me at all. It was a soul-crushing kind of torment that I wouldn't wish upon anyone. I was an absolute wreck for months, but I didn't let that deter me. I wanted to save my marriage, to tell Claire that I'd do better, to show her that I'd do better. And over the next couple of weeks, I tried my best. I bought her flowers and gift cards to all her favorite places. I cooked expensive meals for her. I shouldered the entire load of the housework. But in my efforts, I failed to realize one crucial concept. You can't buy someone's love. After 2 months of fruitless displays of affection, it was clear that the divorce was still moving forward. By then, I had thrown in the towel. There was no point in trying anymore if I was going to be shot down without further consideration. Claire told me that she was moving back in with her parents after the divorce was finalized. I had inherited our home at a fairly young age. My mom was killed by a drunk driver when I was 19, and my dad passed a few years later from an overdose. Without Claire, the house felt so empty. I didn't understand it when it happened, but the first night without her, I cried. All the emotions that I'd been forcing down rocketed to the surface all at once, and I couldn't contain them any longer. Though I was a 34-year-old man, I bawled like a newborn baby. The pain I felt that night was more intense than anything I'd ever experienced before. It was a raw, emotional kind of agony. The kind that I hadn't felt since Claire had hit me with the news. I'm not proud to admit that I gave in to my demons that night. I slunk to my bedroom closet, an internal war raging within me. Part of me knew that I'd reach that point eventually, that I was just keeping it together for Claire. On the other hand, another part of me was ashamed. I'd made a promise to myself, but none of that mattered anymore. I needed something strong to take the pain away, and I had just the stuff. So I rummaged through my closet, tossing aside wrinkled clothes and shoe boxes until I found what I'd been searching for, the bottle of pain pills that I'd held onto after a minor surgery. I took a deep breath. The longer I stood there, staring at that little orange bottle, the clearer my decision became. I was really going through with it. I popped the lid, dumping the contents of the container into my palm. I was expecting to find 2 white tablets sitting in my hand, but instead I was greeted by a scrunched-up, torn piece of loose-leaf paper. My heart fluttered. Had Claire found my stash? Was that why she'd left? My eyes grew wide as I unfolded the page and began to read. Jay, I'm sorry. Please believe me when I say that I still love you more than anything. I'm writing this because they're watching. There's cameras all over the house. Don't let on that you know. Come to /redacted/. That's where I'll be. Don't look up how to get. They have access to your phone. Love, Claire. My heart nearly exploded out of my chest with elation. I couldn't believe my eyes. There it was, clear as day, Claire did love me. But then, a sudden wave of dread blanketed that initial burst of joy. I was being watched. I had so many questions. Who had installed the cameras? Where were they? How did they get into my house? And most importantly, what did they want with me and Claire? My mind raced with possibilities. My head grew hazy and I felt weak. I trudged out of the closet and sat on the edge of the bed. Though I was woozy, I knew that I had to pull myself together. Claire had left me an address, one that was close by. Once that thought crossed my mind, I was filled with a newfound ambition. I was going to get my wife back, no matter the cost. I straightened up and began to put on my shoes, exuding a confidence that I hadn't felt in a long time, but then I remembered. The cameras. Were they still watching me? I decided that I couldn't risk finding out, not if these people had Claire. I pretended to fumble with my left shoe, struggling to tie the laces. After a third failed attempt, I took the shoe off and tossed it on the ground. I kicked the other one across the room, then forced out a tear, burying my face in my pillow. As I feigned sobs, I racked my brain for a tentative plan, and then it came to me. I sat up and wiped my eyes, pausing for a moment before grabbing my phone. I Google searched a nearby Chinese restaurant's dining hours, already well aware that they had plenty of time before closing. It was all just a ploy. The restaurant was close to the address that Claire had given me. If there really were cameras in my home, then there was a good chance that my car had been bugged too. And that wasn't a risk that I wasn't willing to take. I was a bundle of nerves the whole drive there. My head jerked at the slightest movement, and my eyes were constantly scanning for anything out of the ordinary. It felt like I was being watched, like everyone was onto me. No one was safe from my scrutiny. Logically, I realized how ridiculous that was. The old man walking his Pomeranian didn't have anything to do with Claire's disappearance. I knew that, yet I still couldn't help it, which is why those 10 paranoid minutes felt like some of the longest of my entire life. I was barely keeping it together by the time I pulled into the driveway of the rundown house. The property was on the bad side of town. Peeling paint, overgrown yards, and cracked windows were staples of most homes on the block. Normally, I wouldn't feel safe enough to venture there, but at that moment, I couldn't care less. I was going to get my wife back if it was the last thing I did. I parked on the street and stomped up the driveway, long grass biting at my ankles. I approached the door and knocked, then waited as the breath hitched in my throat. No answer. That left me with a conundrum. Had Claire written down the wrong address? What if she wasn't there anymore? Was I just supposed to let myself in? I didn't have time to come up with an answer before the door creaked open. My stomach twisted itself into knots. No one was there, just the inky black maw of the open doorway, ushering me inside. I took a deep breath, preparing myself for what I was going to do next. I knew how stupid it was. Walking into a random, dark house in a bad area was just asking to end up in a body bag. But I had come this far. If Claire was in there, I had to find out. I stepped inside, blood pounding in my ears. The moment that my second foot landed on the dingy carpet, a light flicked on from somewhere deeper in the home. Claire, I called out, taking a step forward. Just then, a sinking feeling in my gut overwhelmed me with a sense of dread. Right as the word trap flitted across my mind, the door behind me slammed shut. I turned in time to catch sight of a burly man in a ski mask standing behind me. I barely had a chance to react before he restrained me, his meaty hands gripping my arms like a vice. Who are you? What's going on here? Oh, Jason, you really haven't figured it out by now. I'm ashamed. I thought you were smarter than that. I turned back to the direction that I'd seen the light emanating from to find Claire sauntering toward me. The mischievous grin plastered across her lips sent a chill crawling up my spine. You're okay. What is this? Tell me, I shouted, struggling against my captor. He didn't budge. Instead, he dug his nails into my flesh and I stopped thrashing. Claire sighed. You really don't get it, do you? No, I don't. Please enlighten me. Fine, you want to play it the hard way. Take a look at this and tell me that you still don't know. Claire shoved her phone in my face. I immediately went pale when I saw the image on the screen. She grinned wider, her bright green eyes almost glowing in the darkness. You understand now, don't you? How? How did you get that? It was a one-time thing. Not even my friends knew about her. Oh, I'm aware, Claire purred, tracing a finger along my jawline. They were blissfully ignorant of your debauchery. But I was. With the last word, she raked a fingernail across my cheek, drawing blood. I winced at the pain. But that's impossible. I hooked up with that girl 6 months ago. We didn't take any pictures. I deleted her number immediately afterward, and I didn't save the texts. I don't even remember her name. It was the only time I was unfaithful, I promise. Oh, you don't have to promise me anything. I already know, Claire said, pacing back and forth like a hungry animal waiting to pounce. You see, I've never really trusted you, so I had some of my associates follow your every move. You never cheated before then, but you almost did. I knew that you wouldn't hold out on Steve's bachelor trip in Vegas. It was the perfect opportunity, and I wasn't going to let you get away with it. I gulped, trembling at her revelation. How long have you been tracking me? Claire giggled, a manic light gleaming in her eyes. The whole time. Didn't you think it was strange that I never told you what I used to do for work? What I still do? I couldn't even muster a response. All I could do was stare. Well, now that you have a slightly better idea, I'll tell you what's going to happen. I am going to make your life a living hell. I'm going to ruin you. I'll take your job, your car, your house, all of it. Not in the literal sense, mind you, but you will lose everything you hold dear at my hand. And after all that, when the only thing you have left is your sanity, I'm going to take that too. My heart dropped into my toes, and I began to hyperventilate. You can't do this. I won't let you. I'll call the cops? I won't do that, Claire cooed, her face mere inches from mine. Because if you do, I'll expedite the process. And let's face it, even if you did run to the police, they wouldn't believe you anyway. It really is a shame. I was willing to spend the rest of my life playing the role of your spouse. But you crossed me, and now you'll pay for it. I wanted to fight, to shout, to scream at her that this was overkill. But every time I tried, the words died on my lips. Before I could form a coherent sentence, Claire turned to the door and opened it. The man restraining me shoved me outside, and I stumbled onto the pavement, still dazed from the whole interaction. Bye-bye, sweetie. I'll see you real soon, Claire said, blowing me a kiss as the door creaked shut. // it's been 4 days since then. I quickly found out that my ex-wife wasn't lying. My tires have been slashed, my home has been burglarized, and I've been suspended from work without pay pending an investigation about some deep fakes that my employer received. I'm scared for my life. I don't know what to do, and things just got worse. Because yesterday morning, I received a text from a random number. What I saw when I opened that message made me sick to my stomach. It showed my sister bound to a chair, gagged, and blindfolded. A knife gleamed in the forefront of the photo. I could barely bring myself to read the words below it through my tears. Leave one of your fingers on your doorstep by 9 p.m. tomorrow, or we'll send you one of hers.